Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Joe Gould. I'm here with Adam Winters again, and we're looking at a couple of things related to Superman. First, the New Adventures of Superman, the TV series from the 60s, and then the new Superman movie, James Gunn's Superman.
I get annoyed when he titled it Superman because now we have to put the date in parentheses outside each of the movies, the 1978 and the 2025.
Yeah, apparently he's decided that colons are not good for movies.
Ah, well.
You should always clear your colon before a movie, but I don't see any particular reason why you can't have one in the title.
Even though I'm not a big fan of Man of Steel, I thought it was bold to make a Superman movie with the name Superman nowhere to be seen in the title. And maybe, was that considered to be an underperformer, box office-wise?
I think it did fine. Adjusted for inflation, it did much better than the news movie in terms of opening weekend. I don't think it was considered a flop. I just think when they decided they were going straight to... Well, I don't even know about that. I just know that when they went straight to Justice League, everyone kind of knew what was going to happen.
Now, they went in between that. They went Batman v Superman, which
had
I find just ridiculous, that movie. But
yeah. Well, maybe we should start with the movie. What did you, since we're talking about it, what did you think about it?
Well, I know you're going to have the big reveal, but I was thinking the same thing that you were thinking about this movie. Overall, since I'll let you take that angle, I'll just say I didn't have great expectations because of the trailers and Superman screaming at everybody. This is clearly not a super mature Superman, even though I guess he's been doing it for 3 years, according to whatever the first scene is. It's not a text scroll, but it's a text fade in and out. But I think it's a better franchise starter than Man of Steel, even though this one tries very hard to be a standalone movie. There's still a lot of franchise starting elements in it. And as far as how they spent the money, I don't know. I can't say what was the most impressive thing to look at, but it's probably Krypto the Super Dog, the way they rendered him in most of the scenes.
I did not think I was going to like Krypto, mostly because I thought they were just going to blow it. And he probably is my favorite part of the movie. I will say that.
The casting, I give them a lot of credit, and I don't know these people's names enough to pronounce them correctly. The Superman guy,
David Cornsweet,
looks like Superman.
That's how it's pronounced.
He looks like Superman. His delivery is a bit of a goof at times, and a guy who's not quite secure in who he is, but I guess that was a plot point for this movie. A Superman who's been at it for a while, but still figuring out who he is and what he stands for. And I know it's controversial when they said, truth, justice, but nobody says the American way. But
no one said that for quite a while, so, whatever.
Yeah. So the lady they got to play Lois Lane, what's her name?
Rachel Brosnahan. Rachel Brosnahan.
Okay.
We'll call her Rachel.
So she's a lot better than Amy Adams, who I generally like and stuff, but Amy Adams I thought was just wasted in the whole Man of Steel, Batman, the Snyderverse. And she's infinitely better than Kate Bosworth in Superman Returns. To me, she's a modern-day Margot Kidder in both the way she looks in this film and the way she acts, her attitude, the way she tries to handle things. Kudos to them on their Superman and Lois. Now, as far as Clark Kent, okay. He's kind of carrot top. He's carrot top, but
he has my son's haircut.
He's not a great reporter, it doesn't seem like. Even after however many years of doing this, he just kind of lays up some Superman story that's pretty lame. But hey, this movie wasn't apparently interested in Clark Kent. The guy they got to play Lex Luthor, I think he's more famous than the other two. I don't recall what I might have seen him. He did, I saw that. The other actors, they got incentive-based contracts. The better the movie does, the more payment they can get. So, obviously he looks the part. I'm okay with this version of Lex Luthor. Some people, I think it was jarring to him. He's definitely not as good as Gene Hackman, even though he goes with the bald head look, the whole thing. And he's not as good as Kevin Spacey, in my opinion. Way, way better than, is it Eisenberg?
What doesn't help him is that we've just seen all these other Lex Luthors who've done really excellent jobs. So he was kind of set up to fail in terms of mine and your eyes. He was set up to fail.
But he's okay. He's fine. I hope they do more stuff with him in whatever cinematic universe they want to do. And it looks like they said they were taking him to Belle Reve, right, when he was loading him into the police car. That's the prison Amanda Waller tends to run with Suicide Squad. And I'm wondering if Suicide Squad is already canon in this or not, because we had John Cena. Who's his character again? The Pacemaker?
So Peacemaker is canon. Basically, anything that James Gunn liked out of the former universe, he gets to keep if he wants. That's basically what he said.
And we don't know what that is, but it's probably, it's at least John Cena, and it could be the most recent Suicide Squad movie, not the previous Suicide Squad movie, even though Margot Robbie was in both.
Yeah. I think Peacemaker Season 2 is considered canon. Season 1 may or may not be. I haven't seen either, for what it's worth. I haven't had the time. But it's a little rough around the edges there. And it is interesting. I did read that they called it Luthor Corp. I'm sorry. Luthor Corp instead of LexCorp because they wanted to make it a family business if they want to.
Okay.
So they could introduce his father at some point.
Or his sister, which was always a big... Lena Luthor or Lena Luthor, something like that.
Lena. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
He does make a good point. Most people don't name a company after their first name.
Well, Lex just sounds Lexier.
Yeah, well, he's young enough that they actually could bring his father in later, so.
All right.
I don't know.
Or
I'm
clone. They could clone him and his son they could pretend it's his son when it's really him, but yeah.
James Gunn is definitely not afraid to change the story a little bit.
Now, did you want to drop your big reveal on what you really thought this movie was?
Yeah, so I feel like this movie could have been named James Gunn Presents Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
I agree.
And you just have the same themes where Superman's getting involved with the world's business when he ain't got no business doing that.
Right.
You get Ultraman. What was he called in the first movie?
Nuclear Man.
Part 4? Nuclear Man, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's basically the same thing. Luthor creates a clone of Superman using a strand of hair found in a battle.
Didn't have to bust into a museum for this one.
Yeah, so in Superman 4, Nuclear Man could only move if the sun was out or if he had sun's rays on him. And this one, Ultraman's an idiot and has to basically be told what to do. I think they stimulate his brain and tell him something like that.
They have a camera, a little drone system they got set up. Everybody has drones in this movie.
But Luthor gives a battleship code, and then one of his lackeys clicks that button, and it makes Ultraman do whatever he wants him to do. Basically, Luthor has spent years 3 whole years, studying all the battles with Superman, and knows what he will do before he does them himself.
That's also very Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if James Gunn is into Dragon Ball Z, but that happened in that.
Yes. So that's my thought, and there's a lot of parallels between Superman 4 and this movie.
And the poisoning, right? The kryptonite poisoning, even though it's different. Yeah.
So obviously there are a lot of differences. There's no crypto in Superman 4.
That's why it sucked. Although there could have been a Supergirl in Superman 4, but they didn't do that.
Yeah. I think if Superman 4 had the budget it was supposed to get, it probably would have been a decent movie. This is my thoughts.
Sure.
Yeah. My takeaway from this is James Gunn's films are starting to remind me of my current experience with Mario Kart.
Oh, that's not a compliment, is it?
Well, it's still fun, but every time I play a new one, it's a little less fun.
That's true. Has it ever gotten better? Has it ever improved since Double Dash? Really?
Probably not. The one that came out for the Wii and the Wii U, well, not the Wii, the Wii U and the Switch.
Same game.
It was excellent just because it was excellent the first time, and then they remastered it, basically, and everything's in it. So it's like, it's got everything you could possibly want in the Mario Kart game, which is probably why it took them so long to make another.
Even the Wii U version had DLC, if I remember. And then they put it on the Switch with all the DLC already there, but they kept on feeding more DLC. Like, I don't know if they left anything out as far as legacy courses. And that was always a thing. Mario Kart should have legacy courses. But there you go. We ain't talking about Waluigi and all them fools.
No, but my point is all his films just have the same tone. And they just remind me of his other films. And they all feel like this was basically Superman meets Guardians of the Galaxy.
Is that why they had to throw the Justice Gang in there? Because he needed misfits to make the movie he wanted to make?
I don't know that he can make a movie with 2 characters. Maybe I'm wrong.
Now, I like the Justice Gang Yeah, I like the choices they made. They went with Guy Gardner, who is the lamest of the Green Lanterns, but that was the choice they went with on this, and they
Talk
went
about
with
needing a haircut.
oh yeah, and they went with Hot Girl, who she got elevated in her status thanks to the Justice League cartoon. But this is a much less interesting version of Hot Girl based on what we've seen so far. It doesn't even look like her wings are on when she's chilling, does it?
No,
Which
I don't think so. So I don't know.
and
It's just
Mr. Terrific, he's the breakout character. Everybody loves Mr. Terrific and they want a TV show with him. And he's played by the guy who was in X-Men First Class and was killed off really, really soon, even though he's supposed to be invincible. And now he's finally getting his time to shine.
I still think he looks ridiculous. I think that's my other. The other
But
thing
he's
about
supposed to,
DC,
isn't he?
I know,
Isn't
I
he
know, I
supposed
know.
to?
This is Jack Kirby land. This movie is like straight out of his stuff. But I don't know. I like the movie. I don't know if there's anything in the movie I hated, other than Clark Kent's haircut.
Just
But I don't
everything
know.
Clark Kent. Well,
Yeah,
not his home life. Not his.
here's one thing I don't like about the movie, and maybe they'll work with it. But Superman is a 30-year-old millennial in this movie. He's a whiner. He's immature. He thinks he knows everything for no
Trying
good
to
reason.
find himself.
Yeah, well, if he was 23 or something, I'd have an easier time with it. But he's a grown man.
Do they establish that in the opening text? Do they say 30 years ago he crashed on Earth?
Yeah, 30 years ago he crashed on Earth. 3 years ago he became Superman. 3 months ago something else happened. 3 minutes ago he got his ass whooped.
The territory. Yeah, the territory war, right?
Yeah. He got involved. He had a quest for peace. What can you say? I don't know. His parents are like ultra mature and understanding and like caring. Like the parents casting is a little quirky, but I do like them.
They went hard on the redneck. I mean, not as hard as they could go, but they went hard on rural America more than is normally done with this.
Yeah, and it worked. But there's no reason for Clark Kent / Superman to be such a whiner. That's just my opinion.
Maybe he hates living in Metropolis, and well, I was gonna say not having any friends, but he and Lois are kind of at least 3 months. I think is what they say. They've been connected for 3 months. Another parallel: he goes to Lois's apartment just like he does, and no, Lois comes to his apartment in Quest for Peace. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess the other kind of noteworthy thing that was changed is that his biological parents, the Kryptonians.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah, I know. I liked it. I like it. They did not send him to be a model citizen, so to speak.
Hey, wait. They wanted the best for their boy, right? That's the best life for him.
They definitely didn't tell him not to get involved in human affairs. They encouraged all the affairs he could have.
Isn't it amazing the only thing he knows about his Kryptonian heritage is that partial recording that he probably watched on repeat 1,000,000 times? Huh.
It's nice. I liked it. I liked what they did with that. That was clever. I want more of that.
Yeah, there is opportunity to explore that in future movies or TV or whatever if they want to get into his Kryptonian heritage. But I get the impression James Gunn is not terribly interested in any of that. Like he doesn't like the typical rehashing of the origin story. How much is he willing to go into the Jor-El history?
I doubt they go much more into his history. I think it's going to revolve around Supergirl. And do they take the time to delve into her history? Where exactly does she come from?
I have heard a report that Warner Brother DC has a big four. It used to be, you used to consider DC a big three: Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Apparently, Supergirl is now in the team. They're big four A-listers, which is a bit surprising to me.
I don't think they can make that decision.
This is Supergirl we're talking about. I mean, we saw the 1984 movie. It's quaint. It's enjoyable at times. But Supergirl, how many comics does she sell historically?
I don't think you can deem something a big four. I think the big four has to be acknowledged as the big four.
So that means everybody else is in a lower tier than those four.
I mean, you could argue Swamp Thing should be higher than her.
Swamp Thing is interesting because I feel like he's not even in the tier. He's in a completely different triangle. And it's just, theoretically, they share the same universe, but he is very much his own thing. It's kind of like the Watchmen. And who else you could throw in there? Somebody who exists, but usually told different kind of stories.
Swamp Thing's had a lot more pop culture success Supergirl. Let's just put it that way.
That's fair. Yeah.
Got a Wes
Although
Craven movie.
I guess Supergirl's TV show did run longer than any of the Swamp Thing TV shows.
How long does Supergirl run? Like 4
I
seasons?
thought she got at least 4 seasons. Maybe she got more. Maybe she went closer to 6 or 7, like The Flash and all that. I stopped watching after the first season. They teased me too much, and in the second season, it got insufferable for me personally.
Well, 1990 Swamp Thing got 3 seasons of 72 episodes. Plus, he's got 2 movies and a failed other series, which wasn't really his fault. So, I'll take Swamp Thing. He's probably not tier 1 either, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying you can make a bigger argument.
Yeah, agreed.
Who would be the fourth? You could argue Robin would be the fourth over.
The Flash is, if you don't count Robin, if you don't count any of the Batman people, and that, to me that's cheating when you take a Superman adjacent character or a Batman adjacent character. But I've always thought the Flash would be in line to be the next closest thing. He's maybe a B+ guy as opposed to an A-lister.
He has no A-list villains.
They're fun, though. Had Mark Hamill in there playing the trickster.
Yeah, well, Superman's got Mr. Mitzplik. His name is
Mitzi Spitlick. I would die if I had to get him to pronounce his name.
He calls him Mitzpickle in the cartoon we were watching today.
Okay. So what was your thoughts on Supergirl since she's in the movie? And what are they trying to set up with this?
I don't know. I've only recently seen that actress. She was in a television show that me and the wife just watched, which I think she's taller than I thought she was, because I was thinking she was like 5 feet tall. So I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking, that's a really short Supergirl. But I think she actually is a little taller than that.
She's not on screen directly with Superman. They share a scene, but they're not in the same shot, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think a James Gunn Supergirl movie will be significantly better than the one we watched before, which actually could have been kind of fun if you had the rebellious Supergirl in that school.
And Dolly Parton would have been better.
And Dolly Parton, yeah. But I don't know. It's just, I'm not familiar with this version of Supergirl if it exists in the comics. So, Party Girl, Supergirl, not familiar with it. It could work. I feel like it might be better as an animated series, though.
She called Superman a B after he just had the worst week of his life and risked everything for her little doggy.
Yeah, but she did it in an endearing way.
Oh, half-drunk Supergirl, deadbeat Supergirl, shows up, says, "Where's my dog?" Calls the Man of Steel a B, walks out.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know what they're going to do with it, but it seems very James Gunn-ish.
She deserves a little bit of comeuppance, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, so that was Superman 2025. Quest for Peace Part 2.
The remake. The remastered edition, that's what it is. Superman 4 remastered.
Shame we didn't get Christopher Reeve.
Well, they could have AI'd their way through this whole thing if they wanted to.
Do you think the movie will make any money?
Well, it's already considered a success domestically, isn't it? I don't know what the total is, but...
Well, I mean, James Gunn says that, but Warner Brothers hasn't said anything yet.
So,
it was a little soft overseas.
There's some speculation on budget, how much they really did spend, and it sounds like after tax breaks, the budget's around $225 million, and it seems like it's well on its way to surpass that easily. The question is, how much money does Warner Brothers want?
Well, I've heard that the promotional stuff could have been upward of $300 million, though.
Oh, I expect. That's why you can never trust when a studio reveals a budget.
If you say $500 million, and I feel like we're probably being generous with that, breaks even.
They spent all that money on the NBA playoffs with that Jason Tatum campaign, and then he immediately tears his ACL after they air the first tie-in commercial.
So if it needs to make $500 million, and it made $200 million overall its first weekend, I don't know that is a good sign.
I don't know. It's hard to say. It has some competition coming up this month.
Oh, yeah. 2 weeks, yeah. Fantastic Four, which I expect to be a train wreck, but it probably will have a big first number.
The real sleeper hit is Naked Gun remake. That's coming up in August, I think.
Which could take away some of the James Gunn fans. So
yes, it could. And, Jurassic World is still out there. I don't know. Is it considered a success? I saw it. I was okay with it. It wasn't anything special.
I heard it's basically the same movie again. It's Mario Kart.
Well, I enjoy watching people get eaten by dinosaurs. And I don't know if other people share that sentiment with me or not.
Yeah, the problem with Jurassic Park and those movies is whereas you could say every release of Mario Kart, it gets a little bit better, but it's just like not so much better that you're really excited. Each Jurassic
Right.
Park movie gets a little bit worse.
It's true, they had a little bit of a spike when the first Jurassic World movie came out, but that was because they remade the first movie and just escalated everything for the most part. Everything was bigger and wilder.
All right. The New Adventures of Superman TV series.
1966 through 70, right?
Kinda. So the first season was The New Adventures of Superman, and it would air in 30-minute episodes with a Superboy cartoon in the middle. So they were all about 6 to 7 minute shorts, just very similar to the Fleischer films.
Yeah,
And
I kind of like and hate that, the lengths of the episodes.
yeah, there's good parts and there's bad parts. And then it changed. I'm looking for where I had it written down. Here we go. So season 2 would have been the Superman Aquaman Hour of Adventure.
Oh, okay.
And then season 3 was the Batman Superman Hour.
Okay.
And then season 4, from my understanding, is reruns of season 1. So it ran for 4 years.
I have a DVD that looks like it collects seasons 2 and 3, but you're saying there's a 4th season too.
Well, my understanding is the 4th season was just reruns of season 1. So it's not actually new stuff, just new package.
That's fair. Yeah.
So, and there were 68 total Superman segments across that period of time. Season 1, which is really what I call the New Adventures of Superman. Also, they're much bigger budget for the later seasons. So I'm curious to go watch sometime and see.
Yeah. It looks like, by the way, season 3 looks like you get 2-part episodes. So even though they did the same format, you get longer stories with a break in the middle.
Yeah. But in season 1, there was 36 different Superman segments. 18 episodes, so to speak. 36 segments, not counting Superboy, which is basically lost to time.
Man, what a shame. Voiced by Commissioner Gordon in his younger years, Bob Hastings.
Yeah, so that's a...
What? Is
sad.
It lost, or is there a weird legal problem?
They've never been released, so it would probably be the equivalent of trying to find those old Donkey Kong episodes from the whatever Super Show that was from.
And that's a legal hang-up, because the Saturday Supercade, you not only have to get the rights to the Donkey Kong show, you got to get the rights to every other thing that aired on it to do it because they shared the opening credits and in the exit credits.
Yeah, well, and the problem is that it's unclear whether or not they were legal in the first place.
Oh, that's fair too.
So just owning the rights to the show doesn't necessarily get you what you need.
Remember the whole Adam West Batman show? It was owned by 3 different interest groups. So yeah. But that's a wrinkle with the Donkey Kong thing.
Yeah. So one similarity might be one of the reasons why the old Muppets show, Muppet Babies, has never been released is because they would incorporate music videos and stuff that they didn't necessarily get the formal permission to do. They just got away with it because I think they were probably.
But the Super Mario show did get away with it, and they re-released it with generic music. But maybe it's harder to do with Muppet Babies.
Well, I think they have clips like movies. It's not just the music.
Oh yeah, they do that. Yeah, that they do.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't expect to see Superboy anytime soon, though. I think the legal dispute probably has been resolved.
Okay.
But so this show, it's not bad. For the record, I didn't watch every episode. I probably ultimately watched about half.
That's good, though, of the first season. You watched half of the first season, right?
Yeah. So it's got some interesting things going on. A lot of narration. 6-minute episodes, you kind of have to set it up. It's kind of set in... It's almost like the George Reeves universe, if it had like all the fun stuff that's in the comics.
That's fair. Everything, it looks contemporary to the 1960s. So Lois Lane looks like Jackie Kennedy.
Yeah, and it uses a similar, but not too similar art style to Fleischer. You can tell it's influenced. But I think if George Reeves had been alive, I think this would have been a lot more understood as a continuation of that show, The Adventures of Superman. Just like the New Adventures of Batman or Robin kind of thing.
Yeah, it could be.
But you get Bud Collyer as the voice of Superman. You get Joan Alexander as Lois Lane. Same as the Fleischer, though she did not continue on after season 1. In reality, she didn't even do all of season 1. Yeah, so it's weird. So she didn't do episode 3, the prehistoric pterodactyls. She did episode 4. So I don't know the order of operation in terms of how many of these shows they were making at the same time. But even in season 1, she didn't do all the voices.
I like the character designs. The animation is real simple and a whole lot of cost cutting for television, but it strikes me a little bit as a Superman radio program come to screen. So I've listened to a few of the Superman radio shows, and that's most of the cast that would be carried over from that. But you get almost as much out of listening to the dialogue as you do of actually watching the animation, just because there's so much limited on screen. It's more like a visual illustration of the dialogue, and maybe a little bit. Do you know what company did the animation for the 1960s Marvel cartoons, not counting Spider-Man, but it was almost like they were static drawings just put into sequence with voice acting.
Those were actually pulled straight from the comics, and they went in and just moved their mouths.
Okay. What company did that with the Marvel stuff?
I'm not sure. I used to have the Incredible Hulk episode downstairs in my office, but I don't have it down here anymore. So I don't have that on me.
This is obviously more than that, but it's not that far removed from it either.
No, and one thing that helps them is kids actually like those reused animations. They look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. So of the episodes you watched, which ones were your favorites?
Only watched the first 3 sets, and then I went and watched the Brainiac stuff, and I saw a little bit of the Mr. Mixie's Spitlick, and what's the one? Who's the energy? Is that the first episode? Something from outer space creates an energy giant.
Yeah, it's got the aliens, which are green and almost look Japanese.
Not the Smurfs, not the Snorks, but the green aliens.
Who I think got reused as other aliens, by the way.
Oh, gosh.
I'm pretty sure the aliens in 1-1 were the same as the ones in 3-1.
So the energy giant monster reminds me of the 10,000 watt ghost from the Scooby-Doo show. You know which one I'm thinking of?
I think so.
Yeah, they're in the Himalayas, but it's like a ghost made of pure electricity, even though it's really just a guy in a costume. Reminds me a lot of that when I see it in the show.
Yeah, it was an interesting way to start this show, that's for sure. And then you got Mermen, who I'm not sure we've seen a show of Mermen ever again.
Well, you had Aquaman, right? Did that count when they?
But I don't know, maybe not.
Well, you got Ariel, the Little Mermaid, and her crew. So it happens. How many people really want to watch a show about mer people? That's my question. But
I don't know. There's a lot of callbacks to some of the Fleischer stuff, including the Mermen, honestly. Lots of caves, lots of underground episodes.
It's shocking how much they go underground in a Superman cartoon, or a Superman anything, considering he's a guy who flies and goes to space. But he goes underground a lot.
So you got the Mermen in episode 1. In episode 6, Jimmy Olsen falls into an underground pocket with more creatures.
Oh.
The Neolithic Nightmare.
Are the mole men here?
No, but they could have been. And the one where Jimmy falls into the hole, he lands on a giant lizard, and then he gets attacked by an actual dragon. And then there's this bird thing, and then there's a giant spider. And honestly, the dragon just kind of stands out because it's the one thing that isn't just a giant version of a real creature. And then Superman, saves it, of course.
So I watched Merlin's Magic Marbles, which was the first one on this disc that features Lex Luthor. And I'm just befuddled by his plan and the way it works out. Because I thought it really was going to be about Merlin, the wizard from King Arthur times. Either Superman goes back in time or Merlin comes to modern day. But Luthor does the Skype talk with Merlin. And I guess Merlin's evil, maybe? And Merlin says, turn yourself into an 8-year-old. You'll be... And I thought Merlin was trolling him. It's like, this is the dumbest idea ever. But I guess that's really what Luthor wanted, and he kind of gets away with it for a while, because who will suspect an 8-year-old? But the whole Merlin thing is kind of dropped, other than
he goes back to get the second power.
Oh, does he? Dang, I
invisible.
Completely forgot about that.
He says, I need to take a break from the marbles. They're going to catch on soon. He's like, I got a different one for you. Give you 15 minutes of invisibility.
Why is Merlin in the show like this? Well,
because Luthor had to make a time machine to go back and get mystical help from the past. I don't know.
I know it's 6 or 7 minutes or whatever, but man, what a odd choice when you're going to work King Arthur stuff and time travel.
I wonder how many of these episodes, if any, had any kind of presence in the comic books, because these were written by comic writers.
Sure. Silver Age, right? Oh! Speaking of writers, I've only seen one name on every one of these episodes, and it's the same. What is that guy's name?
All right, so the National Periodical,
Oscar Bensall.
Yeah, I think that name's made up.
What? Really? It's a pseudonym for somebody, or just a group of people?
So, National Periodicals, they're the ones who had the Superman rights. They wanted to keep the creative control. So, the scripts were done by DC comic writers. So he may have been one of them, but
Oh,
the three names I have in front of me are George Cashton, Leo Dorfman, and Bob Haney.
so Oscar Ben is. I'm wondering if that's like a combination of different people's names and initials. Oscar Ben Saul. It's very suspicious to see one guy write every episode of this type of show.
Spell it for me.
Oscar, Oscar, and Bensol. 6 letters, Bensol.
He was a staff writer at Filmation.
Real guy, Oscar here.
Yeah. So maybe the DC Comics guys gave some scripts, or something resembling a script, and he got it down to the dialogue, so to speak.
Most likely, there's a story that's made up by the comic writers, and it's adapted to a TV script by Bensol, who has a little bit better knowledge of how stuff works for television.
Sounds like it. Though I will say, the only shows he ever worked for, looks like, were these 3. New Adventures of Superman, The Adventures of Batman, and The Adventures of Superboy. So
that's shady.
He got 20 episodes for New Adventures of Superman. He got 4 for Batman and 2 for Superboy. So I don't know. So what do you think of Lex Luthor as a character?
It's Silver Age Lex Luthor. I think it all tracks. It's very similar to what you would expect from a Super Friends Lex Luthor. Even though, I only saw the one episode where he's doing the Merlin bit. I think overall, I probably like this show better than the early seasons of Super Friends.
Okay. I was never huge on Super Friends, so that's not a big bar for me to cross. But
no, and my problem, too, with a lot of the Super Friends, you have the ridiculous plots, which I like. But the problem is when you have all these characters together, you can call them A-listers, B-listers, however many heroes you put in the show, it seems like every plot should be beneath them. And yet everybody kind of acts and looks like an idiot in Super Friends.
No, it should have been the Teen Titans.
Yeah, they did a show of that. I forget what year. I'm like, not the modern one, but I was thinking they did one in the 80s. Maybe I'm just hallucinating like Chat GPT or something.
So I don't know if I guess you didn't see it, but in episode 4, you get the chimp who made it big. So you get a giant King Kong show.
When that one was on. Yeah.
That was a fun little episode.
Topo? What's people love their monkeys.
Titano.
That's Titano, really?
Oh, wait, okay. I'm sorry. It's initially Toto turns into Titano.
Oh yeah, so they remade that kind of idea for the Superman animated series in the 90s. They brought in Titano. So I think that's a...
Yeah, I'm curious if this is actually mirrors Titano's The Super Apes real origin story.
Most likely.
All right, now we got to get to Brainiac.
I saw 2 episodes of Brainiac.
Me too.
Return of Brainiac and...
Superman meets Brainiac.
Yeah, which is on the second disc. Very late in the second disc. Superman meets Brainiac.
Yeah, so he meets him in episode 17. He returns in episode 6.
Woo! That's a ridiculous... What's the air date? Do we have those?
Episode 6 was October 15th, 1966. I don't have the air date of the other one in front of me, but it was after December 17th.
Kids today don't appreciate how hard it was to watch television back in the day. Even into the 80s and the 90s. And you think you've kept up with every episode. And then you get an episode on that's new, and it feels like you missed an episode. You said, how'd that happen? No, it's just because they haven't decided to put it on TV yet.
Yeah. Different order. And I like the return better, for what's worth. Superman meets Brainiac. He's basically creating a Noah's Ark for his adventure on the other planet.
He's the collector, which is what he does in a lot of things, but
he needs 2 of every animal so they can go off and reproduce a society.
And his big weapon is a shrinking ray, which everybody seems to get hit with every time he fires it, even if you're Superman.
Yes.
Stand around and get hit by the shrinking ray.
And then Superman does something clever to get the gun ray back. Blows himself back up to full size, and the ship has already disappeared because Brainiac can go invisible whenever he needs to. So
he's from a planet that I can't remember. It's like Mega or Mecha, and he's built by a scientist called Dr. Hecka. Something like that. What the hecka? NECA?
Something like that. And he's dressed in a dress shirt onesie, basically.
That was standard Brainiac look for a while. So yeah, he wasn't near as impressive back then as he is today as far as his A-list Superman villain status.
Oh no, he's definitely not an A-lister. Not in these episodes. He looks interesting.
Return of Brainiac, he has the same powers and the same basic idea as the first episode, but Superman gets wise to him. And one of his powers is invisibility, even though I don't think it's a teleport. I think he just goes unseen. So I'm surprised Superman can't see his heat signature or whatever, but... the other power is he can generate force fields, but unfortunately the force fields don't cover every possible way he could be attacked.
Yeah, so in theory, they said basically the force field doesn't go underneath him, which makes sense.
Because they need to be, what, levitating off the ground or something?
Well, that's what they said, but I'm just saying, in theory, having a force field that was a cylinder around you isn't completely crazy. But the way they animate it is his foot sticking out underneath the force field, which is more like a plastic tube.
I thought for sure that was an animation error, but no, it's intentional. Good job, Filmation.
I think it was intentional, but I think what they were trying to do is say the force field doesn't quite go all the way to the ground, but they do animate his foot and his toes stuck underneath it. It's like, I don't think that's what they meant to.
Well, again, I just thought, oh, Superman, step on his toes. But no, that is what he's supposed to do. He picks his foot up and topples him over. And it doesn't work for Superman because he still gets hit a second time with the shrinking ray when the shrinking ray is on the ground and makes him even smaller than he was before.
Yeah. And man, Superman, does he not expect ants to come attack his friends?
He got no time for that. His mind is on bigger things.
I think there was another animation error there too, because he actually flew. They have him in space when he hears Jimmy's little watch, but his spaceship that he's looking for is not in space.
Yeah, it's still on the ground at that point. I was confused.
My favorite episode, though, was Seeds of Disaster, and it was the episode following the second Brainiac episode, or the origin story. And these pods of seeds keep dropping down to the Earth from unknown. They never explore that. And each pod has like 100 pod monster, which is basically think of oh goodness,
Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
No, it's not quite that sophisticated. They're not pod people. They're just pod arms almost. Like all right, like a Swamp Thing was going to go tie you down. He'd use these things. But anyways,
okay.
So they're creating all this havoc, and Superman's told that there's too many of them. Even he can't stop it. There's thousands and thousands of these things all across the world, and the world's going to end. So Superman goes and gets a giant looking glass kind of thing, and he goes
mirror?
What? No, like he gets the thing you would use to kill an ant with the sun.
A magnifying glass.
Yeah, magnifying glass. He gets a giant magnifying glass, goes up into space. He goes up to space, and he cooks the Earth with the sun, all square inches of it.
I like it.
He holds it one spot, the Earth's rotating, and he burns up all the plants. Apparently, the rest of the world didn't burn down with it, but
no consequences. He's Superman. He ain't got time to worry about that stuff.
There was another scene where there's a giant plant. It's gotten real big at the Capitol, and he goes and finds a truck full of weed killer, and he sticks something in the side of it. He says, "I got the biggest syringe ever," and he goes and he stabs the thing with it. Injects it with weed killer.
I'm currently watching the Arbor Day episode where a giant tree has to fight Superman, and he knocks a mountain off its foundations and then uses the mountain to reroute a river to save a town.
I saw that episode. It was in Fleischer.
Yeah. So and we talk about, the whole American Way controversy. In the intro to this show, season 1, they say he fights for truth, justice, and freedom. Arguably, freedom is the American way, but I'm starting to wonder how many times in Superman media anybody ever says the American way.
I think it's just the George Reeves show. I don't think it was anything else. Maybe the radio.
It wasn't in the Fleischer shorts, unless they changed it later. Even though they did alternate versions.
That's a good question. They hadn't fully fleshed out the opening because they kept changing it. So I don't even think they did the American way in the propaganda episodes.
No. They use the flag a lot, but I don't think they said it. So that's a good question.
One curiosity would be, when did the American way become a phrase?
Maybe around the same time we put "In God We Trust" on the money.
Maybe.
Or into the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, into the Pledge of Allegiance. That's what I was thinking of. That was like, I don't know, 70s maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe we have George Reeves as Superman to thank for that phrase.
It's amazing. And, George Reeves might have been concerned. He just wasn't making an impact on the world. But here it is. That's what, when we think of Superman, we think of George Reeves and the American way, baby. Yeah, doggy. That's right.
UPS truck.
Oh, yeah.
It's my GameCube controller.
Yeah, man.
Harley, stop.
Your GameCube controller?
Yeah, for the Switch.
Oh, not an original GameCube, but a Switch GameCube. Because I take it, you got the Switch too, so you wanted the GameCube expansion pack, right? Okay.
If I'm gonna do that, I might as well go to controller.
I really like the N64 controllers for this. I mean, the funny thing is, I hate the N64 controller, but I really enjoy the fact they made it for the Switch, and it's really good quality. And I enjoy those little NES controllers too. You can slide onto the side, make a wonky looking Switch. That's pretty cool.
I like the Wishbone style so much better.
Did they release? I figured they would have put that out in Japan. Wishbone controllers. I'm not a fan of them really, but I respect if you're into them.
They were great at the time. I mean, it's really just a prototype.
The buttons are weird. You get uneven button presses because of the way they elevate each.
But your hands don't wear down as quickly if you're playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for 5 hours.
All right. Again, for whatever reason, the NES controller doesn't bother me a whole lot, except when I try to play the American version of The Adventures of Bayou Billy. Then it's cubital tunnel syndrome inducing the NES controllers. That's rough, man.
Yeah, I never got into that one.
Well, if you do get the Japanese version, which is by the name of Mad City, it's easier, but I'm not saying it's too easy, but the American version they tried to increase the difficulty by making the game way less fun. Just unfortunate. So there you go. It happened.
And that was The New Adventures of Superman.
It was! Maybe we'll watch more of it in time. Maybe we'll get around to future seasons. Maybe we'll find the Donkey Kong cartoon.
All right, so Superman movie. What are we going to rank it on? Rate Cryptos? Super Dogs?
We could do it on warp holes. What is his little prison pocket universe? Or the circles. Mr. Terrific Circles. That's what we can give it.
Okay, Mr. Terrific Circles.
Yeah.
What do you give it?
Had a lot more bad language in it than I expect from a Superman movie, but again, James Gunn, that's his MO. I don't know. I'm going to be generous, I think, because I don't know where they're going to go with this, but considering I don't have a greatly high opinion of any Superman movie prior to this, I'm going to give it 4 Mr. Terrific Circles out of 5.
That's pretty generous.
I know I am. I'm feeling generous.
Well, I'm going to give it 3.
I had a birthday. Woo, really? Okay. As in recommended, but whatever. Mario Kart syndrome.
Yeah. Like, I took the 3 kids, and they all enjoyed it, and I got to take them to a movie, and that's great. Would I spend $50 to watch it by myself? No. Would I purchase
$50?
it? $50?
What theater are you going to?
Well, as in, would I purchase it? I probably won't purchase this one.
Okay.
So if it's available to stream, I'll watch it again. I'm not going to go out of my way to get some definitive edition or anything like that.
All right.
But would I have just gone to see it by myself, paid $15 or whatever? Yeah, probably would have. But
okay.
I'm in a spot where that doesn't hurt me. So if I was poor, I wouldn't do it.
A Superman of the people.
Yeah. All right. New Adventures of Superman. What are we going to give it?
I'm not going to rank this. I'm not deep enough into it. But again, I'm going to give it whatever the early, let's say the first 2 seasons of Super Friends. New Adventures of Superman Season 1 is above Super Friends Seasons 1 and 2.
I like this based off the fact that it's 1966 and there really wasn't much else to build off of. So I'm looking at it as what it was in the time that it was. I like it. I give it 3.5. It's fun. It would not be as fun if these were 15-minute episodes, or God forbid, 30-minute episodes.
Some stories may deserve that, but I can't think of any episode that we've seen here that deserves more than 7 minutes.
The plant episode might work. They were onto something there. But I think, like you said, this really does work almost as a visual radio show.
Yeah.
And I think that 5 to 10 minute range is ideal for that. So
tune in next week when Superman fights a tree and a monkey, and maybe a monkey climbing a tree, and a warlock, and Merlin, and a giant ant because he's tiny. Same super time, same super channel.
Well, had we rated it officially, we should have used Magic Marbles.
I gotta rewatch that because I must have been falling asleep or something. I said, what in the world did they do? Lex Luthor and Merlin. Oh, yeah, sure.
All right. Well, that's it, everybody. Be back same time next week.
Bye-bye.